Come children, let's learn about punctuation. Punctuation is a set of symbols that indicate the structure and organization of any written language and the intonation and pauses to be observed when reading aloud. Intonation. Intonation in English is the way the voice rises and falls while you speak. Very often it changes the main idea of what is said. The very same sentence and the same word order might result in quite a different idea behind your words by only shifting the stress from one word to another. Try reading this sentence by stressing the word in bold each time. Come on, let's do it. He isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow. Here we've put the stress on the first word, that is he. In this case, you mean that it's not him who is traveling, but someone else. As in, he isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow, his brother is. He isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow. Here, the emphasis is on the word isn't, to say that it's not true that he is flying. As in, do you know that Arun is flying to Mumbai tomorrow? He isn't flying tomorrow. He was thinking to, but he changed his mind later. He isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow. By stressing on the word flying, we intend to say that this is not what he's going to do, but maybe he's doing something else. As in, he isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow, he's actually driving. He isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow. If you say the word to louder, you're saying this is not the direction he's flying into. As in, he isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow, he's actually flying back from Mumbai. He isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow. Now, by stressing on the word Mumbai in this example, we would mean that this is not the actual destination of Arun's flight. As in, he is not flying to Mumbai tomorrow, he is flying to Chennai. He isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow. Giving the emphasis to the word tomorrow would mean that it's not tomorrow that he's flying, but he's flying on another day. So he isn't flying to Mumbai tomorrow, he said he would be flying the day after tomorrow. As you can see, you're saying the same words every time, just pronouncing a different word at a higher pitch or a higher volume. In this way, you're actually saying a different thing every time. Let's talk about punctuation marks. We have to use punctuation marks while writing sentences to enable the reader to understand the tone and the emotion used in the sentence. Sentences usually end with a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamatory mark. The following are some commonly used punctuations in our written work. Capital letters. All sentences begin with a capital letter. When sentences begin after a full stop in a paragraph, the new sentence once again begins with a capital letter. Let's see an example of capitalization. They lived in the edge of a forest. The forest provided them with all the food they needed. So there are two sentences in this paragraph. The first sentence, obviously, the first word of the first sentence will begin with a capital letter. After the first sentence, you've used a full stop. So the next sentence will again begin with a capital letter. Another thing you need to remember about capitalizing letters is all proper nouns are spelled with a capital letter. So in this sentence, the Kaveri is considered as holy as the Ganges in India. Kaveri and Ganges are names of rivers. They're proper nouns. So we will spell them with a capital letter. Now let's see what these symbols are. Full stop, question mark, and exclamatory mark. A complete sentence must end with a proper punctuation mark to indicate that the sentence is ended. So a full stop is used in ending statements and imperative statements. A question mark is used in all interrogative sentences or when you're asking questions or you're asking for information. And an exclamatory mark is used in exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory means sentences showing a lot of emotion. When these punctuation marks are used in direct speech, they must be written within the inverted commas depicting the speaker's actual words. Let's see the first example. He said, "Why are you walking in the rain?" So you will see we've used a complete sentence, "Why are you walking in the rain?" And this is in direct speech. So the question mark will come within the inverted commas. She said, "Oh, look at the size of the moon." So here again the exclamatory marks will come inside the inverted commas. Let's see when to use commas correctly. It is very important to learn the correct use of a comma because if it is used wrongly, it can change the entire meaning of a sentence. So when do we use a comma? We use a comma to break up different items listed in a sentence. So, oranges and apples are written together in a sentence, but if we want to separate them, we use a comma in between the two words. Let's see an example. She bought some oranges, apples, bananas, and mangoes for her children. So, to separate each fruit, we will put a comma in between oranges, apples, and bananas. Secondly, we use commas when we have passages for reading aloud, indicating a pause at the comma. So, if you're reading this sentence aloud, Sita woke up early in the morning, got dressed quickly, and left for school. So, did you notice? I paused at the comma. Next, we will use commas to break up long sentences and make them simpler for better understanding of the text. So, here's a long sentence and see how the comma has broken up the sentence into two shorter sentences. My grandparents are arriving from Tumkur, my brother from Hyderabad tomorrow afternoon. So, we used a comma between the two, between the grandparents coming from Tumkur and the brother coming from Hyderabad. We also use a comma to separate extra information or phrases or clauses in a given sentence. Now let's see. Our school building, which is over 100 years old, will soon be demolished and rebuilt. This is actually three sentences together. Next, a comma is used in direct speech after reporting verb to write the exact words spoken by the speaker. Now, we'll see the example. The teacher said, "Get ready for dictation." So you see, after the reporting word said, which the teacher is using, we've used the comma. We also use commas to separate question tags from the rest of the sentence. So, he is lonely is a fact, and then we are asking, isn't he? Before the question tag, we will put a comma. Next, we use commas to separate the names or titles of people mentioned or addressed in a sentence. Let's see an example. Rohit, Vijay, Gopal, our principal has arrived. So, we are separating Rohit, Vijay, and Gopal, which are a bunch of children we are referring to, by commas in this sentence. Now let's see inverted commas. Inverted commas are also called quotation marks. These are used to enclose the exact words of a speaker in direct speech. Let's see the example. The teacher said, "Revise your parts of speech before I begin your next lesson." So, the sentence that the teacher actually said, "Revise your parts of speech before I begin your next lesson," are put in the inverted commas. The first one is the open inverted commas, and the second set at the end of the sentence is the close inverted commas. So, the open inverted commas is the beginning of your direct speech, and the close inverted commas indicates the end of the direct speech. Now, inverted commas are also used to mark out a quotation in a sentence. When he began to recite, "Where the mind is without fear," all his classmates began to cheer. So you see, the quotation is what somebody actually said, you're repeating. So, and that is in the middle of the sentence. So that part which somebody else has said and you're quoting that person will be put in inverted commas. Now let's learn about the apostrophe. An apostrophe has two important functions in a sentence. Firstly, it shows possession in nouns. So in singular nouns, the apostrophe is used between the noun and the s that is added after it. For example, boys' shoes means shoes for boys or of boys. And in the plural, it is added after the s. That means boys' apostrophe shoes. That shows these are shoes belonging to many boys. In the first sentence, it was a single boy, so we use the apostrophe before the s. In the second sentence, it is the plural possessive, so we will put the apostrophe after the s. Please note that no apostrophe is used when writing plural forms of common nouns. So if you're converting singular to plural of common nouns like shoe, shoes, flower, flowers, you will not use an apostrophe because it's not possessive, it's simply plural. Let's see some examples of apostrophe. This is Shiva's book. So Shiva is a singular noun and we will put the apostrophe before the s to show possession of Shiva's book. Next, the student's uniform has been changed. So here the common noun students is in the plural form and they have uniforms which have been changed. So we will put the apostrophe after the s. Apostrophes are also used in contraction or abbreviation of words. Contraction means making two words into one, or abbreviation means making a word short. So let's see an example. I don't have enough milk at home today. So don't is used instead of do not. So two words have become one word. You needn't go to meet her now. So needn't is used instead of two words need not. Let's see some commonly used contractions. He will, she will, I am, I will, you are, cannot, must not, were not. Now here are some more commonly used contractions. Are not, have not, is not, it is, would not, you have, I would, and hasn't. Have you seen a semicolon? A semicolon is a dot with a comma below it. And a semicolon is used when we want to indicate a longer pause than a comma. It is used more in poetry than in prose. Now let's see when to use a semicolon. A semicolon can be used instead of a comma in a sentence when there are already too many commas in that sentence. So, she liked walking, hiking, taking photographs of birds in their nests and sketching. So, after the first two commas, we have used a semicolon. Next, we can use a semicolon in a long sentence without a conjunction. Let's see an example. The plane was delayed. We decided to stay that night in the airport itself. So we could have used a conjunction. The plane was delayed, so we decided to stay in the airport. But we can also use a semicolon. Now we come to the next punctuation mark, which is the colon, which is two dots. Colons help us in sentences in the following way. Colons have to be used only after a complete sentence to link fragments with the sentence. So let's see an example. These are the places we want to see in Mysore. Colon, Chamundi Hills, the palace, KRS Dam, and the zoo. A colon is also used to merge two different statements in one sentence. So let's see an example. My grandmother taught us a valuable lesson. Never forget your duty towards your parents. Next, colons are also used to introduce long direct speech or quotations. So let's see the example here. The principal narrated an incident in his life during his speech on Independence Day celebrations in our school. Colon. I was in charge of getting the pole ready for flag hoisting when someone noticed a small tear at one end of the flag. I quickly ran to our crafts teacher who helped me quickly fix it. We need to treat our national flag as something holy. Now let's see hyphens. Hyphen is a punctuation mark that is used in joining words in compound words and sometimes to separate syllables in a single word. It is not as long as a dash or a minus sign used in mathematics. So let's see some examples. Mother-in-law. So we are joining three words together with hyphens. Passerby. Delhi. Sometimes you use hyphens in prefixes. A prefix, as you know, is a half word like un, anti, pre, etc. used before a word to form a new word or modify its meaning. A hyphen is used with some prefixes in a compound word. Generally, a hyphen is used if the prefix ends in a vowel. So let's see some examples. Co-worker, preschool, antisocial. So here all the prefixes end in a vowel. So to separate the prefix, you will put a hyphen. A hyphen is also useful to avoid confusion in meaning. Recreate means to create something again, whereas recreate without a hyphen is entertainment. Next, a hyphen is used to make a compound word with two different words, like sugar-free, computer-aided, bad-tempered, quick thinking. Hyphens are used for writing fractions and numbers in words. So when you're expressing the fraction 2/3 in words, you will put a hyphen between the two words. So let's see some examples.